Welcome back to America's Commercial Real Estate Show. I'm Michael Ball. This segment is brought to you by my company, Bull Realty, Asset and Occupancy Solutions. Visit bullrealty.com. Today we're talking about technology for your space, for your building, for your company. Well, I have a treat for you. Please welcome my guest, Daniel Burrus. He's a leading technology forecaster. He's the author of 7 best-selling books, including his most recent, The Participatory, and I think I'm saying that right, Organization. Daniel, thanks for being with us again.
Thank you, and actually it's the Anticipatory Organization.
Okay, I was messing it up.
Not a problem, not a problem. You know, really what I'm doing is getting people to learn how to anticipate disruptions before they disrupt and anticipate problems before they have them so they can pre-solve them. So that's what the anticipatory element is.
You know, and thank you for that. That's we all need to skate where the puck is going, right? And let's talk about the landlord, the property owner, or the business owner's view. You know, how should the developers, owners, and companies looking at their space out, and what should they think about technology in the future, what's coming?
Well, you know, you've got the Amazons and the others that are using the virtual world to attack retail in its physical form and other businesses as well. But, you know, that's a game that we can play in the physical building world as well. For example, you can take an older building and use a new, very inexpensive sensors and actually AI to be able to make those buildings very smart, very intelligent, generate some of their own electricity, not all of it, but a good part of it, depending on where you are in the country, and lower costs dramatically. You can use technology like virtual reality, AR, depending on whether it's a retail or some other element, you know, some other type of tenant, to be able to redefine the customer experience. So technology allows you to redefine and reinvent the experience, regardless of whether it's part of a university that is a tenant, whether it's retail or anything else. Matter of fact, let me just mention retail for a minute. The good old days of brick and mortar retail are actually ahead of us. They're not behind us. If you think those days are behind us, you might close 120 some odd stores, as Sears is doing. But if you think the good old days of retail are ahead of us, you might be like Waverly Parker or many of the other e-commerce sites that have now gone to brick and mortar, not to mention Amazon doing that and growing that presence. My point is, the good old days of retail looking forward don't look like the good old days of retail behind us. It still is physical, but it's also virtual. It is e-commerce and regular commerce. The key is using new tools to redefine and reinvent what's happening in those stores. And my worry is most of us are just busy protecting and defending what we do, rather than looking at all of these new amazing tools and looking at how can we redefine and reinvent so that we stay relevant.
Yeah, well, Daniel, that's what a lot of you hear some people say, well, that's the way we've always done it around here, right? That's not the way.
Yeah, well, let me comment to that real quickly, because that's people say that. There's an old saying, if you do what you've always done, you'll get what you've always had. But actually, that saying is now obsolete. Given the rapid pace of technological change and the transformative nature of technology, the new phrase I'll give you is, if you do what you've always done, you'll get much less of what you've always had, because the world is changing our youth. You know, a couple of questions for our listeners to ask themselves is, are you changing as fast as your customers are changing? Are you learning as fast as your customers are learning? Because they're having to change to increase their relevancy to whoever they're serving. Are you? And my worry is, in commercial real estate, we're all moving too slow. We're moving at the old pace of change, not at the new pace of change. That's the reason I wrote my latest book, and I think it's because it's a bestseller, is because I'm showing people how to actually do that.
Yeah, and that's very important, and it's a great book, Daniel. And, you know, if you're developing a retail, let's say an office building, for example, or you're renovating an office building, what might you want to think about as far as making that building relevant in the future?
Well, number one, I want to make sure that it's adaptable. The more adaptability I can build in it, the better, because technology and capabilities are changing so fast. I don't want a fixed building that I can't change elements of it very quickly. For example, the speed of the internet connection. We've got 5G coming out, but I have a new building in San Diego, and it's got fiber directly right to every tenant, and with blazing speeds. Well, they can do things that were impossible for the other buildings that they're competing with. And that capability is allowing them to reach around the world and do things that they couldn't do before. So you might say, well, I'm not building a new building, I have an old building. Well, how easy is it for you to upgrade the wiring? And by the way, if you're building, you could put that in the floorboards and in other areas that go around the side so that you could take the old out and put the new in like a plug and play. You also have paint that absorbs light during the day and emits color at night. In other words, it's self-lighting walls that don't need electricity. It's there's all these new things. Are you aware of all of these new technologies that are out there? And or are you just living in the past and building a building that is already obsolete? So higher and higher speeds is the name of the game. Being adaptable, being intelligent, meaning smart buildings, and having that ability to change, because your customers inside that building, regardless of who they are and what kind of business they have, they're going to be wanting to change much more often than in the past, and you want to have a change-ready building, old or new.
Good point, and maybe I'm in the dark. I did not know about that paint. That sounds amazing.
Yes, it absorbs light during the day and emits the color of the paint at night, and it can be bright enough to actually give you light. And then there also are nano coatings that can be put on glass that actually absorb energy and give you another electricity source. There's all these amazing things, and do our builders, are they keeping up? Do they know? Are the designers, are the architects? And that gives me another point I want to make. We have been cooperating with each other. I'm talking about the different elements. There's the owners of the building, there are the builders of the building, there are the architects, the designers of the building, there are the people that are inside. Are we just cooperating with each other, or are we truly collaborating to make sure that we will be future ready and future relevant? I believe that we're in the information age with each other. We need to be in the communication age, because there's a big difference between informing and communicating. We need to be not just cooperating, which is about protecting and defending your piece of the pie. It's about really being collaborative, where you're working together to create a new pie for all. The tools are there to do it. Are we using them in the old ways? That's my worry.
Yeah, that's a good point. And if you're going to collaborate and get all those people thinking the same and thinking of the future and doing what's right, you really have to start very early in the process, like now, right? No matter when you think you're making a change, right?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, the best time always to start is the word you used, now.
Now.
Remember, you can't change the past. You can learn from it, but you can't change it. The important thing here is you can change your future based on the actions you take today. But if the actions you're taking today are the same old actions, your future won't be changed. And in this world, you're going to lose.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about retail for a moment, Daniel. I mean, when we walk into a open air center, or what retail is going to look like maybe 5 years, and you think 60 months, that's not that far out. Are we going to walk into places where they know who I am when I walk past and walk into a store, and they know what I've bought in the future, and their signs are talking to me and leading me to sales? What's the future look like in retail?
Well, I think that there's going to be continued concerns by consumers about how much you know of me. And I think there's going to be a lot of permission marketing, and that means a lot of trust. So what I'm getting at is, in retail, does the shop owner have to know who you are? Is that as important as knowing what you might be looking for and what you want, and how we can help you get it there faster and better? For example, if I am looking for, and I'm going into a store and I'm looking for certain items, I might, my phone could let me know, my smartphone could let me know if you even have those items. And if you don't, I might, instead of losing me to an Amazon type store, every single retail outlet can have infinite inventory. All they need to do is have a nice 17 or larger monitor in there, and all of the inventory that I don't have is including things that that my customer may want that's not even in the zone of what my store offers, could be purchased right there on the spot with a comparable price to Amazon and give you one day or next day delivery. In other words, you can definitely compete in retail with the best of the best, meaning the Amazons or the others, if you have yourself set up that way. So I prefer to have infinite inventory instead of finite inventory. And frankly, in the stores, if I don't have what you want, I can have it to your house before the end of the day, and I can get it for you right now and not have you have to bother with going online to buy it. In other words, we need to think different about it.
I love that. I mean, I think as I see what you just described, there's monitors, several monitors, not one in the store, but there's several in different areas. So I can, if I don't see the color or the size or brand I want, it's right there on a screen, kind of in front of me, and I can order it right there, and there's no wait.
Well, yeah, and a little bit further than that, I can talk to that. I don't have to be programming and doing all of that. I can just tell it what I want, and it can instantly, because there's an AI engine, artificial intelligence engine in there, helping it get to exactly what I want. Secondly, a lot of things that people want isn't really what they need. And thanks to advanced AI, I heard you laugh because you know that's true. Yeah. So thanks to advanced AI, they can help you really get down to what your real problem is. Because, there's a problem in getting qualified salespeople, and the answer is we're going to be helping and augmenting those salespeople with the help of AI so that we can help get to what the person really needs. And let's face it, people will still want to go and browse. I've gone into stores recently myself where I didn't know exactly what I wanted, but there was a high probability I could find something useful just by walking through. Well, we still need that. You can't do that online very well. Yeah. Online, you have to know what you're looking for to find it. In a store, you don't have to know what you're looking for to find it. You get what I'm talking about?
I do, and that sounds scary, Daniel. So I walk in to get an energy drink, and the computer says, "No, you need Geritol, old man."
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, tell us, Daniel, how can our audience get to your book? What's the best direct route for them?
Well, I'm going to do something really amazing here. I'm going to actually give every one of your audience members a free hardcover copy of my latest bestseller, The Anticipatory Organization. By the way, the subtitle is How to Turn Disruption and Change into Opportunity and Advantage. So I'm going to give it to them. All they got to do is pay a few dollars for shipping, and by the way, I'm not making money on that, and it'll come right to their door in about 4 or 5 days. By the way, the reason I'm doing that is I believe they'll like it so much they'll recommend it to a friend, and I'll be doing great. So the way to get that, if you'd like to, is to go to, the book is called The Anticipatory Organization, AO. So go to theaobook.com, TheAOBOOK, theaobook.com, and I'll send it to you for free. Or you could go to Amazon or Barnes & Noble. They're all over the place. Or a bookstore in the airport.
And you can go buy it. All right, Daniels, thank you so much for joining us today. Great information.
It was a pleasure. Thank you.
And thank you for joining us around the country. Stay with us. We're going to have more on technology for your business, for your real estate. Stay with us. I'm Michael Bull. This is America's Commercial Real Estate Show.